Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Âtrium X Space. This week we have Metera on. Metera is Cardano DeFi platform that's about to launch on mainnet. So we're curious to see what they've built, what the details will be for their mainnet launch. And for the first time in our weekly X Spaces, we're also going to start. Metera. Hi guys, welcome. I'm going to start with some weekly news updates. So we'll start with some news while we wait for people to join, so people don't miss anything about what our guests have to say. So, hello, Metera. How are you doing?
Hello, guys. Doing great. Happy to be here. How are you?
Hey, is it Daniel?
Yes, Daniel here. I didn't know if I should join from my personal account or Metera's, so chose with Metera's and Daniel here.
Hey. Hey, Peyton. Hey, happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you. Excited to be here. How are we all doing today?
Oh, wow. Happy
Doing,
birthday. Doing great.
yeah, doing well. Curious to see what Metera is building. So, yeah, except for your birthday, of course, there are some other big news this week. So we had the Grayscale ETF launch. So this is something that a lot of people have been speculating about, and so the Grayscale filed for a Bitcoin Cardano ETF with the SEC. So yeah, there are people that are in favor of it. There are people that are against it. I don't know what you guys think.
I've actually thought about it quite a lot over the past year, and at first, I was kind of nervous about it. There's the thing that's in the back of your head. It's going to be good for adoption because people can come in and they can, purchase this through their stock market apps. But the other end of that is, can they participate in governance? So that kind of made me nervous. But I think that opinion has evolved to, in a decentralized system, we kind of just have to plan for things like this to happen. And it's a good reason for people to step up and be D reps and delegate to D reps, because, these ETFs could eventually govern Cardano. They could be voting in, Cardano votes, proposals, treasury withdrawals. They can also, if they're using, infrastructure, they could just not upgrade their infrastructure as well. So I think that, we as a community really need to step up and be strong and head on the path that we're already on, before we see these ETFs launch. And I think that if we are strong, I think that they could be a good thing and they could bring more eyes on Cardano. And we could use that increase of attention to educate people, to create wallets and hold crypto in the proper way. I interrupted you, Matera. Go ahead.
No, all good. Just wanted to say that on our end, we are pretty excited because it kind of validates what we've been trying to build, which is ETF-like products bought for Cardano native tokens. Like overall, I share the same concerns, similar to what it was being discussed in the floor of the Cardano Constitution in Argentina, of what is going to happen with these big holders, whether that's an ETF or exchanges that have this huge amount of ADA and how they will participate in governance. I agree that we need to find ways to get them involved or either exclude them. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not sure on which side of the argument I'm currently at, but we need to figure out some stuff to make sure that it doesn't harm the community and future governance actions. But overall, for me, it's positive news, and I think for the whole community as well.
Yeah, it of course brings more adoption and more eyes on Cardano and its projects. But yeah, as you mentioned, it's a delicate balance between the influence that they can have in the future and the spotlight that they bring to Cardano. So it's a tricky balance, something we still need to figure out in the constitution and in the whole governance space in Cardano. And we also have the voting is live for the new constitution at the moment. So the DRAP voting is already up to 67% yes, with 2.5 billion worth of ADA voting yes for all the DRAPs. And the threshold is 75. So we need to reach 75 in DRAP votes to be able to adopt the new constitution. So yeah, we're well on our way. I think there's still, I think, about a month left. So voting is going pretty well. I believe you already also voted, right, Peyton?
I haven't done it on chain, but I did submit my rationale on Twitter, and I said why I was voting yes specifically to enact this constitution.
Yeah, great to hear. I think there are still many votes that need to come in, but already 300, more than 300 DREPs already voted. So yeah, it's going well. It's going better than I expected, actually. Is Metera doing something with the ADA that they get for their protocol? Like anything like with DREPs voting, or is it not possible?
So since we're still not on mainnet, like everything coming for the platform is still up to debate what we can do or will do via our DAO governance system. But we have received funding previously from our ISPO and also one catalyst proposal, and we're delegating to Latin American fellow friend DREP, which is called Lucas, and I believe they submitted a yes vote. So I mean, we were part of the Cardano Mexico City constitutional event. We have been super involved in this whole process, and of course we lie in the yes to get this approved as soon as possible.
Okay, Lucas is a good guy, so
yeah, he's awesome.
It's a vote well spent, I think. Awesome. Yeah, great to hear.
It really is a monumental moment, in blockchain, right? To have, a decentralized network with, constituents all over the world, host, I think it was 63 different workshops. When I actually went to Argentina, and when you first get there, there was, Basho and Shelley and, all of the different, members, the timeline that led to, what we have today. And as you pass that room, you walk through, 63 or maybe it was just 60 different flags before you head to the discussion room. And, I think that this may set a trend, for other blockchains in our industry. And to kind of tie this back into the ETF talk, we're gonna the SEC and other institutions are going to be looking at these blockchains and thinking, where do I put my assets? What do I invest in? And they're going to look at Solana and see it's still in mainnet beta. Ethereum's been around for a while. It deserves an ETF. Same with Bitcoin, and I believe that Cardano is the next one up on that list. I could be wrong. Who knows? It could be Sol. It could be XRP. But if we're actually looking at, decentralization and the network and, who processes what, who owns what, who makes the decisions, I think Cardano is right up next on that list.
Just wanted to add something. Like I agree with that. I was also in Argentina. I was kind of pissed that the news didn't get more media coverage, like everything that was done over there. But it really felt like a historical moment. It was super serious. Like the vibes were really, really exciting, and it felt like it was something that people will speak about in years to come. And like I said, we just need to figure out how to either adopt or keep out this portion of the traditional markets trying to get involved. We know that governance perhaps is one of the least interesting stuff for these big whales and big hedge funds and whatnot. But perhaps if we showcase the power that decentralized decision making has, and how our systems work, they might get more involved, and definitely will help accelerate growth in the chain.
Well, talking about whales, at least our own resident whale registered as a DREP, if I'm not mistaken. So that's at least one one whale that's interested in governance anyway. So yeah, Metera, would you like to give a short introduction to what you're building, what your team is like, and what the road looks ahead for Metera?
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I'm really excited to be here. Peyton, I've been following you for a while now, and it's an honor to be here with you guys, also following Âtrium for a while. And well, I'm Daniel, co-founder of Metera. We have been building in the space for over 3 years now, and our goal is really simple. As new users come into crypto, whether that's via the new ETFs or they just the technology gets adopted more and more, we want to make a decentralized asset management that it's accessible and efficient for everyone. So we are building a DeFi protocol called Metera, and what we provide is an instrument that is very similar to ETFs, um, which is basically a tokenized index that we call Metera Tokenized Index, or MTK for its initials. And it's a way for users to diversify into Cardano native assets. Um, we believe that Cardano is one of the most promising ecosystems in crypto, if not the most promising. But as we are all aware, it lacks liquidity, and also the DeFi space seems to be very limited on what users can do. And our idea is to provide a simple way for users, either new users or veteran users in the ecosystem, to just diversify into Cardano native tokens, whether that's creating an index that tracks the top 10 Cardano native tokens by market cap, or offering indexes that diversify to specific sectors like DePIN or DeFi. We want to make sure that our instruments are part of every user's journey in Cardano and every user's portfolio management strategy. Overall, that's what we are building. In which state we are right now is we are finishing our second audit with Sunday. We actually just posted an update video where we show this audit being finalized, and will be published pretty soon. So we're in the final stages of testing this new set of smart contracts that have just been audited, and looking to launch our mainnet in March. So pretty exciting times over here.
So what do you guys have kind of what assets that you're going to be launching with first? Are you guys going to be having like multiple different indexes, with different kind of risk profiles? Or is there, going to be like a top 10? Have you guys, released any of that info yet? I'm curious.
Yes. So great question. So how we are doing it right now is that we have two indexes from Metera. Just quickly to mention that our protocol, one of the value proposals of decentralizing asset management is that the indexes launched by the protocol itself are via DAO governance with our Metera token. And the first two indexes that we are publishing from the Metera side is a DeFi index, which consists of 7 DeFi CNTs weighted by market cap. And we have a deepin index with, I believe, 4 Cardano native tokens, which gives exposure to the biggest deepin projects in Cardano. We have been working also very closely with Cerberus risk ratings. I actually Simon in the space listening right now, and they will be publishing also one index into mainnet. Um, we we work with Cerberus in such a way that in order to make sure that the assets included in all indexes in our platform are have been vetted by the risk ratings in Cerberus. So I believe Cerberus has a methodology where they will be publishing different indexes using their own risk ratings to model which assets should be included, but also like the risk and reward um, uh, mechanism to which indexes to publish. So when we go live into mainnet, those are the 3 indexes that you should see: a DeFi index, a deepin index, and one Cerberus index, which is still on the works and will be really revealed pretty soon.
That's really exciting. We had Cerberus on the space, I want to say a couple of months ago, and we were talking about risk ratings, and I think you guys were brought up in that time. And I was definitely hyping up indexes. One thing that I hear a lot in Cardano is I spend all of my ADA in the bear, or on the way out. People just buying CNTs and getting rugged, or buying NFTs and getting rugged. And I feel like indexes are, maybe a good way to avoid that, by diversifying across multiple different assets. It's less chance of one centralized party kind of rugging that. So, I think as crypto, grows and more people come in, I hope to see more indexes, widely advertised and used. And it does seem that is the direction that our industry is heading. Did you see the Coin 50 index that launched? It kind of made me, think that may be an ETF one day.
Yes, we definitely saw it, and you're right. I mean, like Cardano is, sorry, crypto is such a wild space. Like investors in crypto or degens typically invest very different to how people invest in traditional markets. And indexes, in my opinion, should be the way to invest, whether that's traditional finances or crypto itself, right? I mean, it seems like investing in CNTs or native assets in other chains is just so, uh, for lack of a better term, violent, because price shifts are so wild that you get exposed really badly. So diversifying is your best friend in this case. ETFs such as the SP 500 or some other ETFs that expose to bigger markets are the most common trading investment tool for people all over the world. Like people might put part of their 401k into ETFs or their personal investments into ETFs. And we think it's time to bring that into Cardano to provide better asset management to users. I mean, uh, I spend my whole day in Cardano, like in front of the computer, and I have my own personal investments in CNTs, and it gets really tricky to keep track of all of the price movements and rebalancing the portfolio. And I've been doing this for a while now. And if it's difficult for me to keep track of everything with everything I need to do because I have to work, I have to bring Metera to life, I imagine it's pretty difficult for other users that might not have my finance background as well. So indexes is an easy way to just put your money to work, diversify into a specific sector of the ecosystem, and just leave it there for the long term if you think those sectors and tokens will follow an uptrend in the following months or years.
Yeah, I also understand why we need these indexes because, as Peyton mentioned, me personally, I also got burned about 2-3 years ago on Ardana. And to be honest, that kind of spooked me a bit. And it took quite a while before I invested into any other Cardano native assets, just because of the I well, not scared, but it made me doubt a bit the risks that are involved sometimes. So I think these baskets of tokens, I think. Especially if someone else manages them and they are risk rated. I think it's something that we also need to mature as an industry because, I mean, as you mentioned, the degens, they will go hard on one token and maybe not hold it for a long time and play the market like that. But the coming generations that we want to onboard to crypto, like my parents, the type of people, they won't go all in on one token, and they don't have the time or the interest to investigate all of these tokens and to look at the risk ratings and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's definitely needed for the industry and Cardano as a whole to grow and to mature and reach a larger audience, I think. You were mentioning your finance background. Can you share something about that if you like?
Yes, definitely. We started this project in 2021. Initially, we were a hedge fund of cryptocurrencies out of Mexico City. I'm from Mexico City. I'm big part of the team is also based in Mexico City. So we started as a fund for crypto in out of Mexico. We we wanted to initially we were trying to do an ESG fund with cryptocurrencies. Like back then, ESG was one of the most invested portions of the market. And when we started digging into how to measure uh, like social and sustainable impact in cryptocurrencies, we started taking a huge look into Cardano. There's a big community for environmental, social, and governance projects within Cardano, and we started digging deeper on how we could start diversifying our holdings into Cardano native tokens, and that's when we understood that there was lacking a product that allowed us to seemingly invest to a portion of the market or to different CNTs without having to manually hold them and rebalance them uh, intradaily or daily. So that's when we started coming up with the idea of creating a protocol that allowed users to invest or also create their own tokenized indexes. And we converted most of our clients in the fund into stakeholders of the company. And with that seed capital, we started building Metera. Um, my personal journey with crypto and finance is I first started working in a small exchange in Mexico City doing OTC deals. Then I went a little bit into trading for a forex fund, and after I got tired of of constantly looking at the screen and the anxiety that comes with trading. Um, I just started building Metera with a partner at the time, and I was more involved in the investor relationships and bringing money into the fund itself. Right now, I serve as the CEO, and I do a lot of project management towards the development and also the overall strategy for the launch of the product. I wanted to take a quick step back to what we were discussing earlier. um, like definitely there's different types of investors, whether that's in traditional finances or crypto investments. I think our protocol will do a nice work of tailoring to everyone. Like there's types of investors that have different risk, that are how can I say this in English? They like more or less risk in their investments, right? So we have the degens, which basically are putting the CNTs up there, like a lot of meme coin trading, and they are more adverse to risk, like high risk, high reward, and they understand fully which parameters they can move themselves with. And we have more traditional investors that have already been burned with CNTs, or they have had bad experiences in the past, or they are not willing to put that much risk into their investments. So with Metera, we could be like, with Metera and Cerberus and the risk ratings, we're able to craft indexes that serve different purposes, different risk um, ratings. So we could see a meme coin index for those degens that really want to ape into this high risk, high reward, or we can do more long-term indexes that, as Cardano grows, could include the real world assets, or like these really big DeFi protocols that have been in the space for so long. So at the end of the day, this will be a decision made by our DAO, which indexes we want to be creating together, and to which portions of the markets and which users we want to tailor those indexes to.
It's nice from my perspective to see more products launching for users that, aren't crazy risk adverse. Being in crypto in the first place, you obviously you have to adopt some risk, being in this space, smart contract risk, and, depending on the blockchain you're on, just, risk of the overall markets going down. But, looking at DEXs, to provide liquidity on a DEX, you're worried about slippage, from both of these tokens, and you might end up with one or the other. And, a lot of products that we see launching in crypto right now are very risky, very volatile. And, it's nice to see, more products launch that could tailor to users that are a little less, risk adverse. And, this is one thing that I say about staking baskets. While staking baskets were audited by, Anastasia Labs, the only risk there is smart contract risk. And, I think Cardano is a great chain. It's written in Pascal. The formal language is much better than other chains. So, other than that, there's nothing else. And whereas other smart contracts, you're worrying about slippage. I mean, look at Pump.Fund clones launching. I hope that this is kind of the direction that crypto is heading towards, is having suites of products for different types of users. And I think that's how we'll get mass adoption, because not everybody has time to worry about losing all of their money while they're sleeping. And are you guys going to have like a a DCA feature where you could kind of just set up DCAs into different indexes over time?
Definitely some stuff that we have in mind, adding those type of features. You very correctly mentioned security, and that's one of our biggest priorities at the moment. Like, we've gone through everything building Metera, of having a really complex product, simplifying it, trying to add new features. But there's always this risk and complexity of building smart contracts. So right now, what we are publishing into mainnet is the platform with these 3 set ETFs, 2 by Metera, 1 by Cerberus, and the ability of being able to buy into an index with only ADA. To double click on that thought, how we work and how we make sure that this is complete decentralized asset management, is that every time a user buys into an index, they receive the tokenized index in a 1-to-1 proportion of their collateralized assets. So that means that the actual assets that that are that compose the index itself are stored in a smart contract, and the user in return gets an MTK token that in all intents and purposes is a multi-asset LP token. So you can imagine all of the complexities that there is behind the scenes to get one-to-one collateralization of a bunch of different assets and representing that in a minted token. So right now we are focusing on to making sure that index managers do not have access to the underlying assets, that the instrument itself is self-rebalanced with volume that goes into the index, and moving down our roadmap, we'll start adding more of these new features like DCA, very common that people always talk about. People are always talking to us on how we can take advantage of the assets in the instrument and perhaps stake them. Like if you have Indy in an MTK, how we can start earning yield from the Indy in that stake. So there's a wide range of products that could arise from Metera and features. Right now, we're focusing on the most important, which is security and stability for the instrument itself. So as soon as we hit mainnet, people can start buying for the long term these three indexes that we will be providing.
So before I forget, sorry, I was distracted. So can you walk me through when you launch on mainnet in March, I think you said? Can you walk us through how it would work in the interface? So there are a bunch of let's call them Metera baskets. And how do you proceed in buying them, and how does it work technically?
Yes, of course. So one quick shout out here, like if you guys, anyone in the space wants to try it out, we have had a testnet running in pre-prod for the past 2 months. So you can get the full experience of how it works right now. So like I said, we'll have three different MTKs, is what we call these tokenized indexes, and people will have two ways to buy into the instrument itself. You could either provide the underlying assets themselves. So let's think about an MTK that has mean swap tokens, Cerberus tokens, and eventually an Atrium Labs token. So let's say the strategy set by an index manager is that it's proportionally distributed between the three of those. So 33.33% for H or mean swap, the same for Cerberus. So the user has two routes. He could either provide the underlying assets directly. Let's say he wants to buy 100 ADA and he provides 333 of each one of those three tokens, or they could provide ADA directly. We have made the smart contracts flexible enough to allow composability with dexes in the space so that a user provides ADA. uh, we connect with a DEX and buy the underlying assets and then create a Metera order in the same transaction. So you either send the ADA and do the swaps in the background or send the underlying assets, but the final thing that happens is that the assets get stored into the instrument itself and you receive the tokenized index, which represents your share of assets. Now, this native token can be traded in secondary markets, and you could create liquidity and trade them outside of Metera, and you can always go back to the platform and redeem those MTKs for underlying assets. I hope that's clear. Let me know if I'm missing something or nothing is or something is not clear, but that's the way that Metera works at the moment.
Do you think that you'll be able to swap these on dexes? You know, the tokens that you get for depositing into the indexes?
Yes, of course, that's one of our big plans. Because the tokens represent the underlying assets, but like I said, they are Cardano native tokens. So the idea is to create big secondary markets for those specific tokens. If you think about it, an asset that can be redeemed for a bunch of different assets has more value on secondary markets because um, users buying it on secondary markets do not have to go through the whole process of actually minting the index token. And this means that you can see some disparity where tokens traded in second markets are actually a little bit more valuable than the underlying assets that they represent. This is called the NAV in finance. So a huge plan for us moving forward with those three initial indexes is how to create secondary markets for them. So people are incentivized on one end to actually mint the MTK and put them in secondary markets because they might be able to sell it a little bit higher than what they paid for minting them. So this is a huge part of the roadmap and the capabilities of tokenized indexes.
So, and when you want to swap back, so you supply your, well, or you sell or you supply the LP token back to the Metera protocol. Do you get back ADA or do you get back the native assets, the amount of native assets that corresponds to the amount of tokens that you have, or can you choose maybe which ones, which choice that you make?
Yes, so the same way that you can buy into them when you burn your index tokens, you can either receive the underlying assets or you can choose for those assets to be liquidated via DX and receive just the ADA. So it goes either way, both when you're buying into or burning the index tokens themselves.
So that's nice, because if you want to have the tokens, then you don't have to do a secondary swap back into these tokens, so you can save a bunch of transaction costs and fees like that. That's cool. So you talked a bit about what Metera can do now and what the plans are for the future, but can you expand a bit on the roadmap going forward in the coming years? I mean, it's difficult to answer. You're just like Âtrium, you're probably just trying to get out to mainnet with what you have now, but it's always nice to hear what protocols have in the roadmap going forward.
Yes, definitely. And I actually like this question because we do have big plans in the coming years. So everything starts with us finally releasing our mainnet, which I'm not gonna lie has been tough and it has taken quite a while, but it has been complex and a good journey to get us where we are right now. So our main plans are simple. Like first, which indexes we can create with our DAO and our partners to make sure that we attract outside investment into Cardano native tokens. One of our big hopes is that our instruments bring liquidity directly into Cardano and those projects that have been building for so long. And a second part of the roadmap, which we haven't really spoken about more capabilities within Metera, is which new asset managers we bring into the platform, right? We have spent a lot of time speaking about how to invest into those index tokens and what benefits they have, but there's also a whole side of the platform which allows portfolio managers to create and offer their own index tokens within the platform. So one of our main focus moving forward is attracting new asset managers that want in their own indexes. And what's in it for them is that they earn fees for managing the index itself. So it kind of allows this circular economy where portfolio managers get paid more if their indexes are overperforming. And I think the final end goal is that our instruments become kind of the, the benchmark for investments, right? You have an index that tracks the overall market of Cardano, and that becomes the benchmark of Cardano investments and what portfolio managers or investors in the ecosystem try to outperform because we are tracking the overall health of the ecosystem itself. Um, we have also been working a lot behind the scenes on how we can bring AI agents that could serve as portfolio managers. So that's something that we haven't really spoken about, and we're not ready to give a bunch of information, but we have some cool things gearing up for the next couple of months and years to come.
It's a crazy world we're heading into. Just thinking about AI agents managing baskets of tokens for a bunch of users. I also I think that eventually DAOs are going to have decisions made by AI agents based on key data points that are put in there before the AI is created. The wanted to give a little update too on the Âtrium side. The vote has finished. We're in the final day really of putting together all of the data to release who won the stake pool operator vote. We're going to be bringing diffusion to mainnet. Diffusion is going to have 50 different single stake pool operators from the Cardano community. When you deposit ADA in there, it's going to be split amongst all of those stake pool operators, and you're going to get ATMA DAO tokens on top of your ADA rewards. And the community's actually come in and chosen those stake pool operators with ADA. The first votes with ADA, the future votes are going to be with the ATMA token through the ATMA DAO. But yeah, the results are almost done. We're going to be pushing that out by the end of the week. So exciting news there. That's like a big milestone to check off before mainnet. We also shipped ATMA token claiming. So if you guys are on testnet, you go to the diffusion page, you can sign up for rewards now. You can also claim your rewards. Once you sign up for them, you'll have to wait for the next epoch to claim those ATMA rewards. But that is, another big feature that we had to release before mainnet. And really, there's only a couple more before we launch mainnet for everybody. So exciting times. And yeah, so with that, Metera, how are you guys looking at stable coins? We've always, in Cardano, we've been talking about it for years. There's a lack of, stable coins. And, Charles, I think, 2 years ago, he said something, it's on a space or a YouTube video. He said, why are we so focused on, USD stable coins when you can essentially have an index of 100 of the most stable assets in the world? What do you guys think of that quote there? And do you think that that's a direction that you guys may head in one day? Is building truly stable assets that aren't necessarily tied to a government that can be inflated?
That's a great question, and I hadn't thought about it before. I didn't hear you say that, but it makes a lot of sense. Like our position in stable coins, first of all, for the platform is that, we want stable coins to be successful in Cardano, like offering the ability to buy into our indexes with stable coins makes a lot of sense and would be one of the preferred routes as we see it. But definitely this other part of having an index with a bunch of stable assets sounds really cool and exciting. I don't see why we couldn't provide that in the future, right? Like the limitations in our product are based solely on which assets the Cardano chain can bring on chain, right? And there are huge efforts being done by amazing projects like Palmyra or Finest with Gold to bring real world assets on chain, and they could be easily be added into those indexes. At the end of the day, we are providing the technology. On one end, Cerberus is using their risk ratings to push out indexes that they know will perform well, and they have back tested to show the capabilities of their own technology. And I don't see why moving forward we cannot partner with all of these projects to set up something as big as 100 asset index with the most stable assets on chain.
So have you tested what the limit is of the smart contracts? I mean, what amount of assets that it can handle? Because for staking baskets, we noticed there's like a limit on how many pools we can add to the smart contract before we start hitting like the limits of transaction sizes on Cardano and things like that, you know. So
Yes.
have you have
Yes,
you
yes.
checked how many
Yes.
assets you can add?
Of course, we have checked. Um, might put me in a tough spot right now, but the current limit, as we have tested, is about 15 assets with the current state of the smart contracts. But I don't see why, as the technology progresses and things become more efficient, that we can just scale with what the chain can offer.
Yeah, it seems like over time, we're able to fit more and more in transactions, and the actual amount of bytes that each smart contract uses in each transaction keeps getting lower and lower. So I suspect that 15 number is going to continue to go up. But I mean, 15 in my opinion is more than enough. There aren't 100 amazing Cardano native assets out there currently. I think a lot of them are being made right now. They're going to be launched this year. But 15, I think you can get the best ones with that much.
Yeah, and just to say that definitely, like Cardano will keep scaling, and development will become more efficient, and transaction building as well. I agree. There's not like 100 assets right now in Cardano that are really worth it to be invested in a single index. And also, let's keep in mind that Cardano trading remains a bit inefficient currently because of the lack of liquidity. So when you go through dexes, you're paying batching fees, and typically are getting hit by high slippage. So like, this is something that us as a community and DeFi protocols in the ecosystem will scale together as liquidity comes into the chain. I see this just as the beginning, and let's see what Cardano and us together can offer in the near term future.
So
Feel free to come up and ask questions. If there's any community questions down there, just go ahead and request speaker. We'll let you on up. If you guys are enjoying the space so far, let us know by clicking that little comment button in the bottom right-hand corner. You can also leave some questions in there as well. Sorry, Stephen, go ahead.
no, it's okay. I was wondering, you were mentioning asset managers before, bringing in external asset managers. But I was wondering, is it like an open protocol that anyone can come in and create, yeah, let's say a basket of tokens that they like in a current distribution between the tokens, or are you like pre-approving certain baskets, like you mentioned, Cerberus basket? Yeah, so I was just wondering if anyone can come in and create something, or is it still like a bit of a gatekeeping at the moment to ensure that everything runs smoothly?
Yes, great question. So we have, like, our model always runs by the DAO. So recently, a couple of weeks back, we had a governance process with our NFT holders where we ratified the three indexes. Like, we ratified the Metera DAO with two indexes for the mainnet launch, and we ratified Cerberus as index manager with one MTK and capabilities of adding more. So At least initially for the 12 months, I think we will remain with these three indexes, really focusing on how the platform behaves, how the indexes behave, right? Metera is a lot like a DX, but with a bunch of swaps being done in the background and balancing mechanisms. So it's a really heavy and complex protocol. So at least initially, we want to focus on the platform running as best as possible with a control set of MTKs, unless the DAO decides that a new MTK needs to be pushed out on the Metera side. And seeing how that results and everything that has been going on with the platform, we will start opening up the platform for new asset managers. We had these internal discussions for the longest time of whether we should open the ability of creating an index to everyone, or should we be a little bit more gatekeep a little bit more the capabilities of creating an index. And the end of the day, we ended up deciding with this approach because there's a bunch of things not only on the technical aspect that affect the ability of launching an index, but there's also a whole regulatory constraints and discussion on how our instruments are looked at by regulatory bodies. So eventually, I do see a moment where we open the create index to everyone, but with the technical and regulatory concerns, it's a little bit too much for us to handle at the moment. Plus, plugging into our partnership with Cerberus, we also had this concern of opening it to every person in the Cardano ecosystem to create their own index, and we didn't necessarily know how to control the quality of assets being put into the indexes, like how you control phishing attacks. Like someone could mint a fake mean swap token, and they would be putting that into an index, and every time someone buys into the index, liquidity goes directly to a bad actor. So Cerberus is kind of the risk ratings will vet those assets that can be included in the indexes. So a lot of moving pieces for us to just open the capabilities to everyone, but eventually we will get there. And basically Metera will become a marketplace for tokenized strategies on Cardano.
So I was also wondering, can the ratio of the tokens in the basket be changed while it's live? So the percentage of allocation of each token in, let's say, the basket, can it be changed by the asset manager while it's live, or is it locked? The ratio, is it locked once it's created?
No, it can be changed as the instrument is live. We did a proprietary algorithm that always makes sure that when a buy order or a burn order that interacts with Metera, always calculate the right proportion of assets to get the current weights of the underlyings closer to the target weights intended by the index manager. So what this means is that, of course, prices are always changing of the underlying assets in an index, right? So you might see an asset start taking more share of an index than what the index manager intended. So when it's slightly overweighted, that means that new orders coming into the index will not require that asset in order to lower its proportion in the instrument itself. So the portfolio manager can always change the target weights, and the only thing that happens is that this will signal to the smart contracts if the asset needs to be expelled when a user is burning their index tokens, or if an asset needs to be added in a higher proportion when new buy orders come into the index itself.
Oh, that's really complex smart contract situation, actually. It's a very difficult balancing act, I think, with constantly changing weights and values of the assets.
Yes, it definitely is. And there's a whole side of pricing oracles that needs to be like super secure on the platform, as we know. Um, Although like C3 and Orfax are doing great job, uh, oracles in Cardano are not exactly where a lot of projects want them to be. So there's a whole side of pricing the assets and rebalancing algorithm that really make the platform complex. That's why we have been building so hard for the past 3 years, and we're finally going into mainnet the next month. So a huge amount of work with the whole team. We have a team of by now over 15 people, I believe, all across the world. So um, a lot of hard work has gone into finally having indexes in Cardano.
That's awesome. I just wanted to say, congrats. Having a date in March is huge. We've been working on Atrium for 2.5 years now, and we're getting close to mainnet, and we know what it takes. It's hard to put all the moving pieces together of a complex technology and then launch it into a thriving community. So congrats! I'm excited for Metera. I think indexes are something that I've been waiting for years. I've been really excited to see them launch, and I'm definitely going to get on Metera when you guys launch live and, mess around with the indexes, throw some ADA in there, use the Cerberus index definitely. And I just wanted to say, I'm excited for it. It's great to see awesome projects launching like this on Cardano, and especially the DPIN, index as well. I'm really excited to see DPIN technology launch on Cardano. That was like, one of Cardano's early intentions, right? So it's like, having a basket of Cardano native assets where I can just throw a little bit of money in, support DPIN assets, and bet on the future of DPIN on Cardano. It's awesome. So for anybody just tuning in, we host these spaces every Wednesday at 11 a.m. EST, and we always have new great guests on, just like Metera. Next week, we're going to have some great guests on as well, so make sure you guys come next week. Metera, before we close the space, we didn't have any questions. Is there any big announcement or big things that we missed during this space that you want to get out there to our audience today?
Well, yeah, one thing, first of all, like once again, I'm excited to be here and appreciate the opportunity. It was a great talk with you guys. Also, I know Atrium is looking to be kind of a hub for new users coming into Cardano. We would love to extend the invitation for all of your your followers and community members to try out Metera. And we think indexes is a great way to start into Cardano investments. Also, one nice alpha that we haven't really mentioned and will go out in next week's weekly update is that we attempted to get a Catalyst proposal last fund for an SDK of our platform that unfortunately didn't get funded with the whole Cardano Foundation voting thing and everything. But we have been working on it, and it's finally live. So that means that if you're a project in Cardano thinking about eventually having indexes and offering them into your community, or having an index as your DAO treasury, one of your DAO treasury strategies, you could offer indexes with our SDK in your platform, and you can also earn some fees for transactions that you bring to Metera. So next week we'll be talking more about the SDK and letting the people know. Cerberus is currently integrating this in their platform, and we're speaking with a bunch of wallets to see if they integrate indexes swaps in their wallets. So exciting stuff coming. Once again, thank you for having me, guys. It was awesome.
Thanks for being here. It was awesome. I'm really excited about what you guys are launching. And the SDK thing is really cool. I think that's how you guys are going to get a lot of adoption to Metera.
Yeah. So if there are no more questions from the audience, I think we can close this one out. We've been at it for an hour already. So thanks, Spade. Thanks, Metera, for informing us, and good luck with the mainnet launch. And Pei, have a nice rest of your birthday today. So congrats from the Âtrium team, and have a good day, everyone.
Oh,
Goodbye.
true. Happy birthday. How old are you, Peyton, if I can ask?
25,
Oh, nice.
quarter of a century.
I'm 26, so almost the same age.
I'm
Happy
way
birthday,
too old.
man. Yes, we are. I see a lot of people younger than us doing amazing stuff in Cardano. But congrats, man. Have a great day.
Thank you. Yeah, Cardano definitely brings people together from all over the world, different age brackets, different interests. And, one of the greatest examples is if you ever try to like share some of your favorite music online with people on Cardano, like it just shows you how different everyone is because they hate your music. They're like, that's horrible music, so it's funny. See you guys. Thank you all for tuning in.
Bye bye.